Whoops. If there's a way of messing it up, I'm pretty guaranteed to find it, aren't I? Well, get myself all comfortables, and because this might be a bit of a long one, you know, so we'll do the customary. We'll start with a bit of subliminals. I haven't stopped that in 2 years. I mean, just that alone shows you how relentless I am. Once I put my mind to it and say, no, I'm not going to stop, I won't stop. Just goes on and on and on. So what we've got today is we've got an investment update. Now, this is a long time coming. This is. Sometimes I wonder, what am I going to say? And sometimes I think, well, I should do it in bits, record it and edit it and do it in bits, and then upload it. But you see, the trouble with that is it takes so long to upload a video. So by the time I edit it, you know, even if I edit an hour's video down to half an hour, it just still doesn't. It takes ages to upload and it doesn't come out right. You know, and I think also you miss the emotion, you miss the feeling in what's being said. You know, so for example, if I cut all this out and you just saw the clip that went, message to investors, this is an update, and so on, and it just clicked and clicked and clicked and clicked and clicked, it will come across robotic, and it doesn't come across as real. So I appreciate that, you know, you're not going to want to sit and watch this for 2 hours. It could go 2 hours, I don't know. Honest update on where we are, how we've got here, what we're going to do, and so on. So, as everybody knows, I've been through a shitstorm for the last couple of years, and so have an awful lot of you. Pardon me. Now, nothing specifically makes my problems worse than anybody else's, apart from the fact that they're my problems. Just like someone else's problems are their problems, and so to them, their problems are the most important in the world. So getting to an update. So where should I start with this? Well, part of me is like, I can hear people almost, you know, saying, so when are we going to get paid? When are we going to get our money? And so on and so forth. And so I think we ought to cover some of that. So we've got the first and second round of investments. Well, the first round of investments all got paid, so that was no problem at all. And then we went out the second round of investments, and then we started having issues. And as a lot of you know, whilst I was having issues, I have to say, just after my dad died, literally a month after he died, and days or a day after the funeral, issues that were not insurmountable. Those issues that I had at the time, when I had all of the coin jockeys going on and the CJs and the lots of hours on the YouTube and all of that, where, you know, we had everybody doing that kind of thing, I had issues, but they weren't insurmountable. And then, of course, I got ambushed on the way home and was absolute garbage and lies and detractions and nastiness and bullying and all sorts of other stuff. It made a difference. It really, really made a difference. And it totally smashed, you know, I mean, the words camp have been used, my camp, their camp, whatever. Well, if you want to use that kind of terminology, my camp was completely smashed to bits. I mean, it was absolutely annihilated. And it took me a year almost in order to get a lot of people believing that I stuck to my guns. I would not waver, and I still will not waver, even now. I will not waver over what caused it all. I will not waver over what was said and the damage that was done and the hurt that was done and the upset that was done. Um, it was done, and you know, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't go back and change it. We have to just deal with the fact that all of that damage was done, and an awful lot of damage was done by one person, plus, you know, other people that then followed that person, caused an unbelievable amount of damage. People just joining in and thinking it was funny. And I hope those people have it all come back on them 20-fold. I really do. But anyway, you've got to move on, haven't you? So I've done my best to hold my head up and be straight with everybody. As I said a long time ago, I'll show the insides of my bottom if that's what it takes. And I think I have done to a degree. And again, I haven't wavered from that either. And there are people even now that won't touch me with a barge pole because of what was said about me and because of what other people have said and done. And there's nothing I can do about that. The only thing that I can literally do about that, now that I'm starting to get on my feet a little bit again, is as I get a little bit of money, start taking these people to court one at a time, which I am going to do and am in the process of doing. And I've thought many times, shall I make this on video? Shall I make it public that I'm taking that person to court and that person to court? And there's a part of me that's feeling, well, yeah, you should, because everybody needs to know that you're taking that person to court. Everybody needs to know that that person is a shyster and you're dealing with them, and what they said about you was a load of old toffee in order to just bolster themselves up, you know, make themselves feel good. But then there's a part of me that sort of says, well, yeah, but then you're going to have customers that are just like, they don't care, they're not interested. They're not interested in the fact that you're taking these people to court again and again and again and again. They're not interested. They'll just see it as you and them and you and them and a punch up and a dust up, and it's nothing about what the business is supposed to be about, and nothing about the coins. And I agree with that. I mean, to a degree, that's exactly what's happened and exactly where it's happened. You know, my channel is not just about coins. It is about me, and it's about how we've managed, and it's about how we've dealt with not only the bullying and the nastiness that's gone on, but also the pandemic, and being bullied in the middle of a pandemic, and having lies spread about you in the middle of a pandemic, which, you know, is bad enough sort of going tits up anyway, then to be bullied almost into submission, and then to have all of that done with a pandemic, Christ on a bike. But I'm still here. And all of that, you know, not to put too fine a point on it, but not being well, you know, being ill, nearly dying several times, being told I'm going to die, and, you know, making arrangements to have my own coffin made and stuff like that, you know, making my own arrangements for the funeral. It was a weird time. I guess only somebody going through that would understand, you know, how weird that is, to be, to all intents and purposes, compos mentis and okay and whatever, but to know that, you know, you're going to die because that's what the doctors have told you, and so you've got to make all these, arrangements, and you've got to deal with stuff. Let me tell you, it was weird, and it was more than weird, dealing with that on top of the bullying and everything else. That was weird. But we've managed. I'm not necessarily proud of myself for the way that I've handled it all. I think I could have done a lot better. I think I could have handled things better. I think I could have been less angry. Mind you, sometimes I think I could have been more angry. But anyway, so So people, quite rightly, you know, I've had a few conversations of late, and people have gone, well, look, you know, yeah, I know all that. I know you've had trouble. I know you've been ill. I know you've been bullied. I know all this. I know you've had your business smashed to pieces again and again and again and again. Yeah, I get that. I've heard you say it loads of times on a video. When am I going to get my money? And what do you say to that? What do you say to that? You can only agree, if you owe somebody money, you can only agree, well, I owe you. I know I do. And I've got to get you paid off. So here's the thing. It's like, well, now, I've said all the way from the beginning, I'm going to need to get back up to between 5 and 10 grand a week turnover, income, coming in every week without fail. That's 20 to 40,000 pound a month coming in every week, every month. I'm going to need that if I'm going to properly settle every single investment that was made. I'm not talking about the memberships. Every investment that was made. Now, I ain't doing 5 to 10 grand a week. And when I said that, I wasn't doing £100 a month. I was dead in the water. To all intents and purposes, finished, washed up, knackered, finito. To the point of looking into the camera and saying, it's all over, it's done, it's gone. That's where we were. And I knew at that time, and I said at that time, if I want to get to a point where I'm turning over between 5 and 10 grand a week in order to be able to settle these original investments, well, I've got to first get £100 a month. And then when I've got £100 a month, I've got to get £100 a week. And when I've got that £100 a week, I've got to turn it into £250 a week. And when I've got that, I need to turn it into £500 a week, and so on. Because if you can't do £500 a week, you can't do 5 grand a week. So you have to work on the immediates. You have to start going back to the pennies and the pounds again, and and the small amounts of money you've got to generate, whatever you can generate, in order to get those figures in and up. And I've been working solidly on that. About a year ago, when I started saying that and offering people, okay, well, if you want me to pay you by stock, I'll pay you by stock. And a lot of people wanted that. And we found a way to do that on eBay until some nasty pig of a person decided to trash all that, And when they trashed all that, they did that against not just me. When that eBay was taken down, that nastiness was not just directed at me, it was directed at every single investor. Every single one of you investors that either have been paid or haven't been paid, that nastiness was directed squarely at your feet to stop you getting settled, so that you could then be angry with me. That's what all that was about. And half of that worked. I mean, Christ, we even have, or had, one of our investors feeding them information. And when, and I know you are, and you know you are. And the thing is, when you did that and you acted not only against me, but you acted against every other investor that there is. That's what you did. You stuck the knife into every investor, not just me. And you didn't stick the knife just into the investors and me, but you stuck the knife into your own investment. You stopped or put brakes on your own investment getting sorted. Had you not done that, I would be a bit further forward by now. maybe you would start getting to be paid out by now. Who knows? But one thing we do know is we ain't there. And we ain't there because of things like that. And even so, I'm still, even though I have a good idea who that is, I don't know 100% guaranteed ironclad, therefore I can't chuck them out or have a go at them or whatever. I just think I know who it is. And I still have to send them the information, send you the information that I send everybody else. But know this, every time you do something against me and against what I'm trying to do, you're doing something against the other investors and you're doing something against yourself. Stupid to me. I would be wanting to help the person that owed me money. I wouldn't want to be doing something against them. Not if they were trying their flipping best to pay me. Different if somebody owes you money and they say, ah, piss off, I'm not paying you. You know, then you get angry. Then you want to do something against them. You want to damage them. But not when that person is like laying at your feet going, look, you know, I'm opening myself up to you. I'm showing you everything that I'm doing and I'm trying my absolute damnedest. You don't then kick that person in the balls. That's just silly. But that's what's happened, excuse me. So, of course, now I'm starting to get on my feet a little bit. Now we're starting to not make a bit of money, but we're starting to turn money over, right? I know that I've hit £1,000 a week. I think that is absolutely mental massive, especially considering I didn't have £100 a month coming in a year ago. Now we're up to £1,000 a week. Now here's the thing, you see, it's an elephant in the room and we've got to talk about it. And the elephant in the room is this. People are going to see me starting to get on my feet and think and expect that they're going to get paid out. Whoa, no, hold on. If I shell out whatever I get now, then I'm not going to be able to keep the business going because I'm just paying it all out. And it'll be like a dribble on a 1 acre grass plot. It'll be going nowhere. It will feed nothing. We have to make more. I need to be turning over between 5 and 10 grand a week if I'm going to be in a position where I'm going to be paying people back £1,000, £1,500, 5 grand, 15 grand, all this kind of money, 20 grand, you know, and in 2 cases, a shitload of money, as in like close to £100,000. I'm not going to pay that kind of money out if I'm turning over 500 quid a week or £100 a week. I'm not going to pay that out if I'm turning over 2 grand a week. I ain't going to be able to pay all that. I've got to turn over a lot of money. And I've had people say to me, well, you can pay me a bit, you can pay me monthly. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, that's handy, thanks very much. What am I going to pay it out of? And here's the elephant in the room. Here's the one that nobody's mentioned. Who gets paid first? Because I've been saying for quite some time, I know I owe that money. I know I owe that money on investment. I want to pay it, but I have to earn money. And for me to be able to earn the kind of money I need, I actually need a bit more investment. That's what I've been saying. Because without the investment, I can't get my own TGBCH coins. I can't do this, I can't do that. I can't do something that's going to make us money. Without more investment, I end up going bust. That's what I've been saying. So I need more investment. I need people to look after their investment. People that have invested 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 grand, whatever the amount is, I need those people to look after their investment, put a little bit more in. Now, I know some of those people are going, yeah, right, God, I ain't putting in another penny, mate. You know, I've put money in, I want that money back out again. I ain't putting no other money in, don't be stupid. You owe me 15 grand. I'm not putting a 500 quid in or £1,000 in. I'm not spending another bloody halfpenny. There's going to be people thinking, I know that. I absolutely know that. There's also people that think, well, look, I can afford to spend a bit more money. I can see the shit he's in. I'm going to put a bit more money in because I want this bloke to get on his feet. I want him to get on his feet because I want that money back. And I don't want to lose that money. He's already looked into the camera once and gone, poof, it's all gone. And that frightened the life out of me. I don't want to have that again. So I'm going to help him. I'm going to give him a bit of time. I'm going to give him a bit of money. I'm going to give him a bit of sharing. I'm going to, whatever. I'm going to do something to help my investment because I want to get paid. So there are people like that. Now, whilst you can understand the people that go on your bike, yeah, I understand. I'm sorry you've had some shit. I'm sorry you've nearly died. I'm sorry you've had heart attacks. I'm sorry you've been bullied. I'm sorry that your business has nearly gone tits up. I'm sorry for all those things. You know, it's life, innit, man? At the end of the day, it's my money. And I want my money back. And no, I ain't putting in. No, I'm not buying a raffle ticket. No, I'm not buying a membership. No, I'm not going to invest another fucking halfpenny. Just, I need my money back as soon as possible. And then you've got the issues. Then you've got the people that are desperately needing that money. I have an investor that's got cancer of the esophagus and is now terminal. I've got another investor that's got another type of cancer, terminal. I've got John, who not only is part of TGBCH and helped me set this up, but he's also an investor. A lot of people don't know that. But he's an investor who's put money in. He's terminal, stage 4 lung cancer. I've got an investor or investors that have got serious financial troubles with their family, and their family are coming to them for help. And they now can't help their family because they put money into me. And they ain't got two lots. So now they want to put pressure on me to give them money so that they can give it to their family. And, you know, even when I say things like, and they want to put pressure on me, makes it sound like I'm being negative towards them, and I am not. I expect to get that kind of pressure off of people. I expect people like that to give me a bit of pressure because they need to get hold of their money for whatever reason. There are people that need that original money and they need it back, and they need it back with their interest. You can't deny that. I can't deny that, won't deny that. But again, elephant in the room. When I get to the point of being able to start settling investors, and I settled one recently, it was only a small one, that's why I made such a big deal of it, because I was able to settle it. Boom, yes, you, done. And I will do more. But who do I pay first? Because no matter what somebody's story is, to say sob story makes it sound like I'm talking negatively and derogatory about these investors, and I am not in any way. To take their individual stories they are in themselves heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to the point where I just want to immediately go, yeah, I'll put you to the top of the list. Could I do that? Well, I can't put everybody to the top of the list. I've been asked by 3 or 4 different people now. I can't put everybody to the top of the list. I can't pay everybody monthly. So the question then becomes, why should I pay that person before I pay that one? And then here's another question and another elephant in the room, right? There are people that I owe money to from the first, or not the first, because I said they were all settled, from like the second round of investments or the third round of investments, whatever it was. There are people that I owe money to that have supported me all the way through, that have put little bits of money in here and there, even though I owe them that money, to help me so that I don't go under, right? They've put money into the memberships. They've put money into the raffles. They've put money into the prize draws. They've put money into, I come up with an idea and some of these people will put a little bit of money into it. Now, if I pay somebody because they've got a heartbreaking story, as it were, and in their own mind, they're right to get their money first. But then the people that are supporting me and putting money in now, they will quite rightly get the hump. They've got the right to haul me over the coals and say, hang on a minute, Ian. Yeah, I know you owe them money, but you owe me money and all. And I'm the one who's been supporting you for the last year. I'm the one who's been putting money into what you're doing. I'm one of the few watchers that you have on your live daily streams. I'm there every day. No matter what's going on, I'm there every day supporting you. And what, you're going to tell me that you're going to give somebody else their money back before me? Now me and you are going to fall out. Do you see? Do you see what a position even getting back on my feet puts me in? Puts me in a terrible position. Even to getting to the point where supposing I can pay £500 a month, supposing I can pay £250 a month, supposing I can pay £1,000 a month. Who's going to get it? And how do I divvy that up? Now, it's in my mind, personally, in my own mind, if I get big enough, quick enough, then, you know, if I'm turning over between 5 and 10 grand a week, then I'm at a point where I can afford to spend several thousands a week paying off those investors, and then those investors walk away happy as Larry, and they've made their interest, and they've got more money out of me than they ever could out of any building society or bank or high interest yield account. But I've got to get there first. And remember, you know, I had to earn £100 a month before I could even think of getting £100 a week. So now we're over £1,000 a week, yes, but I've got to get between 5 and 10 grand a week in order to settle the original debts. I mean, you've got the bounce back loans. Well, they have to get started this month. You know, well, of course, I've got to pay the bounce back loan before I pay back an investor, because if I don't pay the bounce back loan, then I'm in trouble. So I've had that money, spent that to try and get creative and reinvent the business, etc. And I've had a lot of support in doing that, but I haven't had enough support to hit the targets that I need. So people quite rightly will say, well, I want paying first. And my story means that I should be paid first. I mean, you can't, how do you put any story in front of somebody that is terminal? They're dying. That person is dying, Ian. You haven't just got a time limit. They're dying. That's not just a time limit. That's not just an alarm reminder They're dying. Once they go, what then? You've done them no favours whatsoever if you haven't paid them back by the time they've died. Of course, the money owes to somebody else, but that's not the point. It's not the point that the money gets transferred to somebody else. The point is that person has died and you haven't paid them back. And that means they died knowing that you didn't pay them back. And for all intents and purposes, they died knowing and believing that you screwed them over and you'll never pay them back. What else are they going to think? That's hard. That's hard to deal with on a daily basis. Finding out one person's terminal, that was one thing. Finding out that one's terminal, oh, Jesus. That one's terminal, oh, Jesus Christ. That one's seriously ill, I can't tell you the pressure. I mean, I talk and make it sound so blasé about it all, but I can't begin to tell you the pressure that I've been under and the pressure that I am under. I've seen messages from people, including investors, that have said to me, Ian, mate, it's only money, it's not worth your life. You just got to not stress over it. It's only money. People will have the ump for a little while. It's only money. This is not, no need to get yourself into an early grave. And it's lovely. It's lovely to have somebody say something like that to you. It's lovely to have somebody say, look, yes, I'm going to have the ump if I lose my money, but it is only money at the end of the day, and it's not as important as your life. So I don't want to lose my money, but I don't want you to lose your life, Ian. You've got to sort yourself out, and if I lose, I lose. And that's lovely. But it doesn't take the pressure off. The pressure's still there. It's lovely that you said that, but not everyone thinks the same as you. And not everyone is as nice and as kind as you. Some people are positively unpleasant. So who's going to get paid first? That's a hell of a question. Is it right that I pay an investor who has done absolutely nothing? They've done absolutely zero to look after their investment. They haven't bought so much as a £1.50 hectare draw ticket or a George's draw entry. They haven't spent so much as £1 on the raffle site. They haven't bought a single membership. They haven't bought a coin off you. They haven't done anything whatsoever in 2 years. Should that investor get paid ahead of all of the people that are looking after their investment, that are putting some money in to help me? Because if you agree that that person should get paid first, then what you're agreeing to is that it's quite right for these other investors and customers that are putting money in right here, right now, to the draws, to the raffle, to the memberships, etc. What you're saying is that it's right that all of these people should muck in and help, be part of TGBCH, etc. They should all muck in and help in order to pay back someone who's basically going, I ain't doing nothing and I want my money back. Which, let's be fair, anybody has a right to do that. I'm not saying they don't have a right to do that. Anybody's got a right to go, yeah, well, I put in £2,000. I want my money back. I ain't doing nothing. I want my money back. And I don't care about this and I don't care about that. I want my money, I want my money, I want my money, I want my money, I want my money. Should they get paid first? Or should the people that are looking after their investment should the people that are trusting me even more, with even more money, people that are investing money in order to help me get ahead so that I can pay back all these investments, should they get paid first? Because without them taking part every day, without them putting their hand in their pocket, without them coming up with 1,500 quid and 3.5 grand and so on, in order to help me get these COAs, and I had them ripped out of me on and all the rest of it, these people that have helped me get all of that, should they just be made to stand at the back of the queue? I don't think that would be very fair. And it is a quandary. It's a quandary on, you know, and there are still people that I owe money to that haven't transferred it and put it into the memberships. So this is my last stab at trying to get those people that haven't transferred their debt into the memberships to put it into the memberships. This is my last stab at that. Not going to bother after today, because I have tried so hard to show that I'm trying to look after people's money and so on and so forth. So here's the thing. There's two pieces of paper. There's an original piece of paper that says investment that people bought into a couple of years ago. And they bought into that with a specific deal. You invest X amount of money, and after a year you get X amount back. After 2 years, after 3 years, whatever, you get X amount back. Investment. That's all that is, an investment. Outside of that, that piece of paper means nothing. There's no draw for it, there's no raffle for it, there's no nothing. It's just a piece of paper that's an investment, right? Now there's a second bit of paper. This second bit of paper is a membership. This second bit of paper is when you buy a £25 membership on puddleduck.org, or a £100 membership on emplambert.com or changechecker.com. Now these memberships, it doesn't say investment in the title. It is not a strict investment in that first bit of paper's sense of the words. Because this second bit of paper that says membership is a product. You're buying a product. And that product comes with draws every day. It comes with these wheel spins that are going on every day. Now, that's a product. That is a product that you are buying. Therefore, when you buy that product, you are buying into the fact that emplambert.com is going to have the wheel spin every week on a Friday. And that puddleduck.org, 50p.org, or qgardens50p.org at 25 quid is going to have a spin every Monday. Or that qgardens50p.co.uk is going to have a spin for 39 quid every Wednesday. And when you buy that bit of paper, that's what you're buying. So you're buying what is essentially a physical product. It is a draw entry. Just like buying a lottery ticket. When you buy a lottery ticket, you've bought a physical product. Now, that physical product disintegrates. It self-destructs after the lottery's had their draw. The lottery has their draw, and your lottery ticket numbers are self-destructed now. They're worthless. They're not worth a absolute light. They're not even worth the paper that they're printed on, because they're losers. And therefore, any non-winning lottery ticket every week is a loser, and just like Mission Impossible, it just self-destructs and disintegrates. It's gone. It's finished. Next week, there's another draw. Now, my memberships ain't like that. Your name doesn't disintegrate every week if you don't win. It is a physical product that you've purchased, and those draws go on every single week. And you may very well win next week or in 9 weeks' time or whenever it is. At some point you may or may not win. But your name does not come off. It does not self-destruct in that way, the same way the lottery ticket does. It works the same way as post office savings, premium bonds, where you put your money in and you might win a prize. And at some point you'll be able to take that money out, providing everything goes all right. So, 2 bits of paper. One bit of paper is an investment. The other bit of paper is a product. Now, if anything happens to me, if I have to go bankrupt, and I am not out of the woods by a long chalk, I'm not out of the woods. There is so much work to do, and I could still go under. And let's face it, you know, one of the other elephants in the room is an investor could, if they wanted to, say, I've had enough waiting, I've had enough of this, they could send me to the cleaners. I can't stop somebody taking court action on me. About me taking court action on other people, I can't stop people taking court action on me. What happens then? What happens if someone takes court action on me? Well, they could send me to the cleaners. But what would happen is, every single one of those original investments, every single one of them, poof, gone. Call it Mission Impossible, call it self-destruct, call it disintegrate, call it going in the bin, call it whatever you want. If I get sent to the cleaners and I end up made bankrupt, then every single original investment goes out the window, no matter how much it is. There is no fail-safe. There is no safety net that can be put in place for that. And the bankruptcy official receivers and so on will view investment exactly the same way as a £2,000 credit card. They just write it off. Just gone, poof, gone, finished. You don't know it anymore. Now, I can do that myself. You know, for these people, and then going back to the people that have absolutely, adamantly refused, point blank, to look after their investment and to put any more money in, to help their investment, one thing that you should know, if you don't know it already, and I'd be surprised if you didn't know it already, but one thing you should know is, if I wanted to just call it a day myself, it will cost me 700 quid. And I can find that like that, 700 quid. That's not big-headed, but 700 quid is not hard to find. I've only got to put a fire sale on of some description for one day, I can raise 700 quid. 700 quid is all I need to pay the course. Fill in a bankruptcy petition, go bankrupt myself. Job done, boom, poof, finished. Every single debt that is in my name, poof, gone. Whiff of smoke, puff of smoke, it's all gone. And that's all it'll cost me is 700 quid to do that. And I have refused to do that for 2 years. Refused point blank to do that. Will not do that because a lot of my creditors are personal. I don't care about going bust for 20 grand on a bank. I don't care about going bust for 50 grand on a credit card or whatever it is, or a loan or whatever it is. Don't care. I would not lose a second's worth of sleep if I went bust owing Barclays or Marbles credit card or whatever, tens of thousands of pounds. Wouldn't lose a moment's sleep over it. Business is business, as Ian Glenn says. Pardon me. But I do lose sleep when it's people. when it's people that you've tried to have some kind of a relationship with, that you've built a relationship with in some cases. People that I know by their first names, people I've spoken to. It becomes personal to me. And so I've refused to do it. I've preferred to just fight. Now, if at any point in the last 2 years I'd have just paid that 700 quid and gone under, my life would be much better. I would be healthier. I might live longer. I'd certainly have a lot less stress. I wouldn't have any worries because I'd be bankrupt. And everything, every single debt, the law says, every single debt goes. And no one is allowed to chase me. No one. Once bankrupt, no one is allowed to chase you. If they chase you, they start committing a criminal offence under the harassment laws and one thing and another, and they can be taken to court. You know, so that would have been my best move. Any accountant, any solicitor will tell you, oh, in a position like that, the best thing to do is go bankrupt and put your own personal needs before everybody else's. And the one thing that I'm not very good at is putting my own personal needs before everybody else's. I put the staff's needs before mine. That's why I fought so hard for them for so long. Not knowing all the time that somebody was stealing from me. One of them was stealing from me. I fought tooth and nail for all of them, just the same. So it's important that these things are mentioned. It's important that people think about these things. So if I was to go bust, whether I do it myself or whether somebody takes me to the cleaners, for example, every single investment goes out the window. Memberships, on the other hand, I can find a legal way to be able to keep them open so that the memberships don't self-destruct. The memberships don't fizzle out. They don't go poof. They don't disappear into the ether like the investments. So I cannot beg people enough. I cannot implore people enough. If you are one of the people that is owed money from the investments where you bought an investment, I absolutely urge you and implore you to put that into the memberships. It is the only way that I can safeguard that money. I'll work out how I'm going to pay them all back as I make more money, as I grow the business, as I, we've had to reinvent, we've had to change things. And I'm now, as I say, I'm doing over £1,000 a week now on average. That needs to be built on. But at least whilst it's alive, right, I have a chance of paying it back. If it's dead, it's dead. If I go to the cleaners, any of those investments will go to the cleaners. Any of them. Lost. They are gone. Done. And I have no legal obligation to do anything about them whatsoever. And I might add, not only do I have no legal obligation to do anything to settle those investments, but I actually have a legal obligation not to. It will be against the law. Now, I know, I get on my feet again, someone will come forward and they'll go, oh yeah, Ian, I'm one of the people you went bankrupt on and I lost my money, but now you've got money, can I get paid out? No. Because if I pay you out, I'll go to prison, and I'm not going to prison. You can go to prison. Now, you might not care, but I do. So it becomes illegal to settle a debt once you've gone bankrupt. It becomes illegal to make somebody a preferential creditor. You're not allowed to make somebody a preferential creditor. That is against the law. And yet, there would be people that would slate me and go, what you've done is wrong, what you've done is against the law. Actually, it isn't, but people would say that. And those same people would be the first person to break the law because they want to look after their own circumstances. Well, yeah, but you owe me money. I don't care about that. That law doesn't apply to me. You owe me money. I want it. You know, and I'll worry about whether I can go to prison or not later. Well, I won't worry whether I can go to prison or not later. If I ever get to the stage where I actually go bust, I go bust. Everything that goes bust and gets included in that bankruptcy, it goes. It goes. There's nothing I can do about that. All I can do is implore those people, those stragglers that are still left over, is beg those people, please, 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 if you have an investment, don't just leave it lying like it is. Give me the instructions to put it into the membership. I can't put it into the membership if you don't give me the instruction to say it's okay to do so. You have to give me your personal instruction to say it's okay to do so. And I will then swap it over into the membership and give you the paperwork for that. Now it is a product. Now there are things that I can do to try and save it. As an investment, as a loan, there is nothing I can do to save it if the worst should happen. And we are only talking if the worst should happen. So in a sense, it's a gamble, isn't it? You know, if anybody still says, well, yeah, well, I'm still not going to put it into the memberships, well, then you're taking a gamble with your own money, and that's your right and privilege. But know that I'm not gambling with your money. That's you taking your own gamble with your own money, deciding to go against my advice and to stick it out. Well, you can. It's not going to put you at the top of the list. Just because you haven't put it into the membership doesn't mean you're going to be at the top of the list. Just because you haven't swapped over and included that investment into the membership, that does not mean, well, if I don't put it into the membership, then I'll be one of the first ones to get paid out. No, you won't necessarily. Because I'll then draw you back to, well, hang on, we've now got to look at the people that have looked after their investment and the people that have helped me. Because is it right for somebody that's done absolutely nothing whatsoever to secure their investment? They've done nothing to look after their investment. They haven't helped me in any way. They've not put a single penny into anything that I'm doing. Is it right for that person to then barge their way forward in the queue and go, oi, now you've got money, I want pain. Yep, I'm fucking worried about them. You know, that's their business. If they wanted to help you, that was their business. But I mean, I want my money and I should get paid before them. And I think them would have something to say about that. If we were all in a room and there was a big queue, I think them would be standing up out of the queue going, whoa, what do you think you're doing? No, mate, no, sorry. You're not getting paid first. We've been helping him. If he pays you first, he's paying you with some of our money. We have been helping him to make sure he does not go under so that we all get paid. We haven't put that money in just for your benefit. And I think people need to think about it that way. It's very easy for us to not think in the literal term, but try and think of it in the literal term. Think of it that we're all in the same room. You know, and if somebody says to me privately, yeah, well, I still think I should get paid first, Ian, because my answer to that person will be, well, I think you need to come online with me live then and say so. I think you need to be brave enough to come online and say live why you should get paid before anybody else, even though you haven't put a single solitary penny in to help or protect your investment, and these other people have. I'm not saying that people have to put money in, but what I am saying is, if you don't help, if you don't look after your own investment, your original one, if you don't try and protect that with something, some kind of help, right, then what is it that gives you the right to say that you should be paid out before the people that have? I mean, think of it like, think of it like, think of it like having an acre's worth of ground. An acre, by the way, is 8 times the size of my garden. I've measured it. So, so think about having an acre of ground, and think about being an investor. You've all invested in this acre of land, which I've got the job of digging over and building on. Now, part way through, we've got troubles. I've got ill health, there's been bullying, there's been this, there's been that, there's been all sorts gone on, right? Pandemic, whatever. And so things ain't working very well when it comes to settling the investors who have put up the money to buy the piece of land. Think of it like this, in the literal world, right? Not a virtual world, but a literal world. So if you've got me with a fork, a garden fork, on this acre of ground and a spade, and what I've got to do is I've got to dig over all the ground that's got to be dug over, and I've got to do the foundations for where the house is that I'm going to live, right? It's going to take me forever, isn't it? But maybe half a dozen investors go, look, I've got a fork and a spade in. Someone says, I'll come down on Saturday, give you a hand for a couple of hours. A couple of people say, yeah, I'll come down on Sunday, give you a hand for a couple of hours, whatever. And now there's a line of 20 of us, all with a spade and a fork. 20 of us, all in a line, digging. Man, you're going to get some work done, aren't you? Maybe one of the other investors says, look, I can't do any of that digging, lark. I'm too old for all of that. But what I'll do is I'll make the tea for everybody. And another investor says, yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll be the one that goes backwards and forwards to the shops, because people are going to want a Mars bar, a newspaper to read while they're having a cup of coffee, whatever. So I'll go backwards and forwards to the shops. I'll help in that way. And someone else will help in another way, and someone else will help in another way. Do you get the picture? Well, that's what's been happening. I have people that have been helping. They've either been helping by buying Hector's draw entries, George's draw entries, memberships, putting the original investment into memberships. When they buy their memberships and they spend a little bit more. So maybe they've got a £25 voucher, but they spend 28 quid and add £3 to it. Maybe they've got a £160 voucher, but they'll spend £170 and add £10 to it. Yes, you're going to have people that will not add any money to it whatsoever, because they take the view that they've put enough in. Okay, fair enough. But, you know, if you don't ever put anything extra in, how do you expect me to be able to pay it out? Because if everybody did that, if everybody paid nothing, if everybody did not add anything to whatever they were buying a membership for, they've got £160 voucher, they spend £160 every single time and never put anything in. If everybody did that, there'd be no money, would there? So what are you supposed to pay it out with? You know, the game has been designed in a way to get people to put a little bit of money in here and a little bit of money in there, and you can't always get your membership voucher wins exact, so you've got to pay a couple of quid. That's what it's designed for. It's designed in that way so that I can, everything I've designed, every idea, every creative idea I've come up with is so that I can nick a couple of quid there, nick a couple of quid there, nick a couple of quid from over there. And all those couple of quids and few quids and everything, they add up. Well, at first, they started adding up to a couple of £100 a month. Now they add up to over £4 a month. We need them to add up to 40 grand a month. We've still got a long way to go. We ain't out of the woods yet. And I think is it possible that someone could take you to the cleaners? Well, yes, I think it's possible. And I think the likelihood is that somebody might decide to do that, that's got the money to do that, because it will cost £3 grand at least. So it's got to be someone that's prepared to waste £3 and lose it. And I think that is possible uh, when we get to the point of, starting to make more money and starting to pay money out, and that person isn't included in the payout yet. And I haven't included them because they've done absolutely nothing to support, apart from the original investment. Which I know you can argue, well, the original investment is a lot of support. Yes, it was. But we need support now to make sure that we don't go under. We need support now to make sure that there's enough money every week to pay all the bills, as well as be able to put a bit by for paying out the investors. I can't just pay out the investors and not pay any bills. I'm knee deep in debt with all sorts of bills that I've had to let wait and wait and wait and wait. And I'm only now starting to get on top of a few things. It's been a hard slog. It's been hard work getting to this point and taking the view that I'm not going to go bust. I am going to work my arse off to get everybody settled. But I'm not too proud, and I'm not too big to admit that I need help. I can't do it on my own, and I can't do it with well, you've got 2 or 3 people putting a bit of money in. Well, that's brilliant. Well, a bit more than 2 or 3 people, to be fair. You've got a dozen people putting a bit of money in. Well, great, but we need more than that. We need to get to a point where we've got enough money coming in to be able to use some of that money to pay off investors, pay off the original debts, as well as paying off other debts. Because I've got other debts that need paying off, and if I don't pay those, then they get antsy and start threatening legal action and one thing and another. So do I think it's possible? I think it's possible only if somebody who's got the money decides that what I'm talking is a load of old bollocks. They're not interested, they're not going to help one little bit, and they're going to take me to court to get their money back, and they don't care about every other investor. If there is such a person amongst our investors, then yes, it's possible. And I have to cross that bridge when I come to it. But let me tell you this, if that happens, every single investor that is just an investor will lose. Every single one. I won't be able to stop that happening. Because once an order is made, a bankruptcy order is made, you can't fight that. If it's made, and everything goes. Goods, products can be protected. There are ways to do it in law. There are ways to do it that are not illegal. There are ways to do it in order to take everything that you've got as stock and sell it to another business. Right? So I have to focus on protecting for the mass. So for everybody, I've got to look at everybody as a whole. I've got to try and protect every single investment, every single penny that was put in. That's what I've got to try and do. Not worry about one odd investor or a second odd investor or whatever. I've got to worry about all of them as a whole to get there. Now, another thing that I would say is, originally, as we all know, about a year ago, I was listing stuff on eBay, and I developed a way, I got creative, and I developed a way for investors to say, well, actually, I don't want to wait, I'd rather take goods. And I don't mind the fact that the goods were a bit higher priced, but I'd rather take the goods, and I'll take them now, thank you very much, and that's our investment cleared. Now, I did that with about 80 grand. £80,000 worth of investments I cleared that way. Some of those people were happy, some of them weren't too happy, but they were happy enough that they were getting something and did it that way. Some of those people now might be looking at what I'm doing now, and they might be thinking, well, if I'd have known you was going to go down this road, I'd have had my investment as membership, so I'd have done that and parked my money there, and you didn't have to pay me in goods. Well, any of those people can change your mind. I'm a fair bloke. So if any of those people, if I settled somebody with you know, I owe you 3.5 grand and you settled with 3.5 grand's worth of product, and actually you've still got that product and you'd rather give it to me back and have the 3.5 grand's worth of debt or 3.5 grand's worth of investment or whatever, then by all means give it back to me and I'll put your debt, your investment into the memberships. And then you have the chance of getting a gold coin like everybody else or something else or whatever, you know, and you can join in like everybody else. So anybody that had that before and thinks, well, now I'm thinking like I've got a bit of a raw deal, or I just, you know, if this option had been available, I would have took this option here. And well, okay, great, get in touch with me. You know, I'm quite happy for you to send it all back to me, no matter how much it was. 20 grand's worth, it doesn't matter. Send it all back to me and I'll put it into the memberships. I've got absolutely no problem doing that. Why should people buy memberships? Because I'm hoping, and I fully intend, that everybody that's got a membership will at some stage, one day in the future, get 100% back. So if you bought a £100 membership and you paid 30 quid for it, what is it you're going to get back? Well, what I'm hoping in the long term is you'll get 100 quid back. Doesn't matter what it costs you. If it's a £25 membership, you'll get £25 back. If it's a £39 membership, you'll get £39 back. And if it's a £100 membership, you'll get £100 back. If it's a £150 membership, you get £150 back. That's what I'm hoping for. I can hear some people going, what, are you sure? Are you ludicrous? That's mental. No, it's not mental, because I still believe. I believe that at some point, the directors of 288 Group will sit down and want to talk to me at some point. Yes, you can sound talking out my arse. Yes, you can sound talking absolute rubbish and rot. Well, okay, I might be. There's two things that's going to happen here. Heads or tails. Number one, heads. Heads. Ed says they will talk to me and I will do a deal with them. Tails. Tails says I won't. It's only going to be one or the other, isn't it? Now, if I'm wrong and they never talk to me from now until the day I die, well, I guess I made a mistake. And my 52 years of supply and demand experience goes to shit, really. Is worth nothing. But I think they will eventually, they have to. Same with the Royal Mint. They will have to, in the end. They could look at this video and they could be laughing their socks off. I don't care. I'd be going, yeah, you laugh. It's all right. But I think you're going to want to talk to me one day. They don't want to talk to me whilst I'm an annoying little fly. Just an annoying little fly, that's all. They ain't going to want to talk to me while I'm that. But when I get a lot bigger and I become more than an annoyance, they're going to want to talk to me. There's bad blood between me and Ian Glenn. Okay. But there isn't bad blood between me and all the directors. I might, if I was sitting there, tell Ian Glenn that I think he's a Barclays banker and tell him exactly what I think of him. But I can't do that to all the other directors, can I? I don't know them. I've had no dealings with them. And at some point, you can just imagine a meeting, a board meeting. For those of you that have watched anything like it on the telly or been involved in anything like it in real life, this is the way it goes. And I'm not wrong on this. This is the way it goes. A board meeting full of people, they will be saying, now listen, Ian Glenn, you might be the boss. We may have put all of you in charge. All of us might have put you in charge. And you might have this issue with Ian Lambert, whatever. But you see, what we see as shareholders and directors is that this nutcase, Ian Lambert, is causing us problems and costing us money. And we don't like it. We don't like the bad blood between the two of you. And we don't care what you think of this, Mr. Lambert. We don't care. What we do care about is the fact that we are shareholders in this company, and he is now costing us money. He is taking our customers. He is taking our traffic. He is taking our money. And we don't want that. So I think we need to talk to him. Now, you've tried to get the domains off him for free. You had the most expensive solicitors that we've had for some time in London, charging whatever they charge, £1,000 an hour, whatever it is. You've had these people write to him and demand and threaten him with legal action and all sorts if he does not give you all these domains free of charge. And even with the most highly priced solicitors that you sent on this guy, who at the time had nothing, he told the solicitors where to go. And what did you do about it? Nothing. Did you take him to court to make him give us those domains? No, you didn't. You just threatened to take him to court to make him give us those domains. So what you did was, you showed your hand. You showed that all you had was a pair of fives. You showed your hand, because once you didn't take him to court, he knew that you were bluffing. All you had was Jack Eye. He knew you were bluffing. You should have followed it up with court action, and you didn't. And that was the opportunity, and you lost it. He then got the upper hand. So we're going to need to talk to him, because we want those domains. We want those domains in our hands. We don't want those domains, change checker domains, in his hands, Westminster Collection domains, in his hands. We don't want that. We want them in our hands. So it's time to do a deal. And you're talking about a £50 million a year company. So we're not talking pocket change. Now, I still believe that if I get these domains up and running one at a time, and I will do that, I will get them up and running. First one up and running is changechecker.com. That is up and running as an independent website. Changechecker.com is where you go to buy and sell your change checker coins, or any coin really. I don't know, I said change checker. It's where you go to buy and sell coins from the numismatic. Coins, banknotes, whatever, tokens. Changechecker.com is the place to go. Now, at the moment, there ain't that many members, and I shall change that. I will get creative. I will come up with ideas, and I will come up with offers and deals to give people that join, and so on. So we will get members, and we'll get members come along, and they will list their own stuff for sale, and they will buy things. You know, somebody sold, not me, but somebody else sold an A to Z set and for 80 quid on there. So, you know, already with hardly any members, it's already got sales going on. That will piss off the directors of Change Checker and 288 and Westminster Collection. That will wind them up. They will not like that. Now, when they come and talk to me and we start having conversations about web domains and all the rest of it, I'm not going to be looking any less than 5 million. Somebody might think, well, you'd be lucky to get £1 million in. You'd be lucky to get £500,000. I don't care. Don't even talk to me unless you're willing to talk about a price of 5 million. And the reason that 5 million comes into force is because that's what happened with the conversation with me and Ian Glenn. And he asked me, is selling your business on the table? And my business at the time was just the Great British Coin Hunt. It was nothing else. And I said, yeah, 5 million. He nearly fell off his chair. And one of the last things I said to him was, you laughed at me when I said 5 million. I'm going to show you that it's worth 20 million. And that's what I'm doing. Now, you know, you could easily say, oh, you've got big ideas, Ian, you know, oh, your big ideas, you're stupid, you're off your head, whatever. Well, I could be off my head. Every single classified site, every single one, and changechecker.com will not be excluded from this. Any buying and selling site that gets big and starts to take a market share of the business is then bought by eBay. There was a company called Pre-Loved, it's owned by eBay. Gumtree, it's owned by eBay. A lot of these businesses, as soon as they start taking the market share, they're owned by eBay. PayPal was the bank, eBay bought the bank. So it's no different. Change Checker are no different. The Royal Mint is no different. You know, you look at all the domain names that we've got. If I manage to get a proper website put up for each and individual one, it is going to interfere massively with their business. Something I told them I intended to do. They did it to me. And what did Ian Glenn say? Business is business. Well, all right, business is business. So you're going to get it back at you. And you ain't going to like it. So by the time I'm finished, half a dozen Change Checker domains, half a dozen Royal Mint domains, all getting serious amounts of traffic, all owned by me and you. That makes us very powerful. That makes us strong. And all we have to do is hold our nerve long enough and put enough work in long enough for them to come to their senses. Because it doesn't matter what anybody says, the sensible thing to do is to buy me off. The sensible thing to do is to buy me out. Just like I bought Warren out. You know, people would go, you were crazy to give him silver coins, you were crazy for this, crazy to that. The deal we had was, I'll pay you off with a dozen silver coins, you do not mention me at all in social media, you no longer email me, you no longer do anything. I paid him off with 12 silver coins, 12 pieces of silver. Sometimes it makes sense. You know, I pay you off with that, now you release your, I was going to win it anyway, but you release your copyright claims on YouTube, which were a load of old garbage. And he did just that, he released his copyright claims, and I therefore honoured my deal and gave him 12 pieces of silver. And obviously, you know, that was the deal. Do not email me ever again, but that lasted 10 minutes. So he's broke that deal. But, you know, people do break deals, break arrangements. But anyway, that's besides the point. It's not what I'm here to talk about. The point is, if somebody is a big enough pain in the arse and you can't get rid of them for free, you will buy them out. Because it's a sensible thing to do. And it is the least stressful thing to do. And all I have to do, I say all I have to do, it is a massive, mammoth task, but all I have to do is produce a website for every single one of those domains, have it up and running, and they're going to get interested. They're going to want to talk to me, and they're going to want to take them all off me. And it will come with a caveat that says, I'm not allowed to probably open another coin business or whatever, you know, for X amount of years or whatever. So, and I see all this as important stuff to talk about in an investment update. There's no way I could do an investment update for half an hour. This is all important stuff. Now, the first one that we've got up and running is changechecker.com. You can support that just by joining changechecker.com. There's a £5.95 joining fee, but the site credit that you then have in your account, £5.95, you have that in your account as site credit, you can use that to buy something. So it's not costing you £5.95 to join. The £5.95 is just making you pay something that verifies who you are and the fact that you've used a card to join the site. You know, that way you can't be a Mr. Smith but join the site as Tom Jones. You know, you can have a username that says Tom Jones, but the name and address and details that's in the records on the site have got to be real. That's the trouble with a lot of websites nowadays, and there's a reason there's a lot of fraud. It's because they allow people to join up with no checks and balances. I'm not having that. Last thing I need is to have my time wasted by people that are crooks that join the site fraudulently and then rip all my members off. No, I can't be asked for all that. So, you know, $5.95, you pay to join, and then you can use that to buy something. And I will come up with ideas that make it like a no-brainer to join the site for people. Now imagine that changechecker.com gets 5 or 10,000 members one day. We can all help that happen, but imagine we get there, 5 or 10,000 members one day. You think Change Checker's not going to be interested in that? You think the directors of Change Checker are not going to be interested in that? Of course they are. What about Royal Mint Shop? I mean, I think that is a wicked domain name, as well as the others, Royal Mint TV and so on, but Royal Mint Shop. Royal Mint Shop is the Royal Mint Shop. So that to me is like all the Royal Mint products need listing on Royal Mint Shop. It just makes sense. People will use that as a go-to place. But it's work that needs doing. And remember, I'm on my own a lot. I get some help from the team and I get help from various quarters, but from a day-to-day, get up, work all day, 8 hour, well I don't do an 8 hour day, but I probably do a 6 hour day now. I don't start till about 11 by the time I'm ready in the morning because of my issues, and I finish about 6, 7. So that's my working day. Well, there's not like, 2 of us or 3 of us or 4 of us or 5 of us like there has been before doing those kinds of days, all working together in unison. So it takes me a lot longer to get things done. But what I've proven to everybody over the last couple of years is that I will do it. I said to you 2 years ago, 18 months ago, whenever it was, I said to you, I will put a changechecker.com website up there. And I'll put a website up that will piss people off, which I've done. I mean, that was a good move. A Change Checker buy and sell website. They can't touch it. Annoy the life out of them, but they can't touch it. Royal Mint Shop, they can't touch it. I can build a Royal Mint Shop. I just need the money and the time to do it. Well, the time, extra time, comes with having the extra money. If I've got extra money, I can pay somebody to sit there and do all the listing and get that built. But Royal Mint Shop will be the next one that I want to do, to come up with. So it does make sense to back me. It makes sense to get involved in what we're doing because we can make a difference. Together, we can make a difference. I know I can get to the end of the tunnel. I see a light now that helps me navigate my way through this tunnel. I've had help from investors that are looking after their own investment. I've got one lady that's been honest enough to say to me, I'm not actually interested in the TGBCH coins. I'm not interested in the memberships. Things have moved on from what I was interested in. And I'm not really interested in the draws. But I buy a couple of entries, I have a little go, and I support you because I'm looking after my investment. Because I want to do something to look after my investment. Even if that is only putting a couple of quid in here and there, I want to do something to look after my original investment because I don't want to lose it. Now, if everybody was doing that, it would make things easier for me. I'm not expecting people to just carte blanche pay for everything that I do. Let's just give Ian loads of money. It's not like that. But, I've said it enough times now. Looking after your investment, it's important. Whatever you've got, it's important. So when it comes time to paying out, and because of the amount of money that I'm seriously going after the Royal Mint for and Change Checker for, the amount of money that they've got to pay to buy me out, I'm already there in advance. You know, if we ever get to a stage where we're going to have that meeting, I know where I'm standing before I walk through the door. And if they're a million miles away from me, I shall get up, say thanks very much, and walk out until the next meeting, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But eventually, they'll come around. They have to, because it's business. Either that, or they'll have to change their name. What's going to cost them more? And remember, they've got a £50 million a year business to worry about. Plus all their other, derivatives, all the other companies that they've got that are supposed to be different companies, but they're not. They're under the monopolised cartel of Change Checker, 288 Group, Royal Mint, whatever. You know, different names that are out there now are supposed to be different companies, but they're not. It's the same. It's them. So that's where I see it. And by getting the kind of money that I think they will pay up, and I've told them why I'm charging them so much money, because of the damage that they did. And Ian Glenn didn't care about that kind of damage. His argument was, it's business is business. With the Royal Mint, they've just told lies after lies after lies, which they don't need to do. Don't need to do that. You know, I mean, some of you will remember the Royal Mint putting the A to Z 10 pence coins in their till. And then when we got there, they changed their rules to like only allowing you to take 5 for every transaction. Then they changed those rules. And they kept going out to their store cupboard, getting more and more and putting them in the till. And they said, when asked where they got them from, they said, we get them from the bank and post office like everybody else. And we all know that that was absolute fabrication. That was pure lies. In one sentence, they said they got it from the banks and post offices like everybody else. And in another sentence, they said that they made extra and put them in the tills. Well, by making extra and putting them in the tills, you've just admitted to counterfeiting money, which is highly illegal. And them refusing to backtrack or refusing to say where they was wrong or whatever. So they will both have to pay eventually. And I'm the one that owns those domains. No one else owns them. I own them. And they are all going to get built. So the next time you buy a £25 domain for half price, or you win £300 worth of membership vouchers and go and spend it on memberships, have a little think. Because if Ian is right, that's 300 quid you've got in the long term. Because at some point you will get 300 quid back for that, even though you won them. And the voucher that you got, you know, the £100 membership you got for 50 quid because it was on sale, well, when it comes time to closing down the wheels, etc., and closing it all off and closing it all down and paying everybody out, you'll get £100 back. So what you're building is a portfolio. You're building a portfolio of memberships that are going to be worth money if I'm right. If I'm wrong, then they won't be worth anything. They won't be worth a sausage. If I'm right, then they're going to end up being worth a lot of money. So when I say to an original investor, look, you've got £5,000 there that you're owed. Now, strictly by the terms of the agreement, you put £5,000 in, you get 50% back over 2 years, so you've got to get £7,500 back. Okay, so I will settle that investment of £5,000 and give you £7,500 worth of memberships. So I'm paying you out in full. You've got the £7,500 worth of memberships. They're in the memberships. Wheels are spinning. You might win. Blah blah blah, and on it goes. When it eventually gets settled, you get settled £7,500. When I eventually pay those memberships, because I'll buy those memberships back by giving you £100 and taking your name off the wheel. I'll give you £25 cash by bank to bank and take your name off of a £25 wheel one time. If I give you £150 back, then I might take your name off take your name off a £100 wheel and two £25 wheels. If I'm giving you £390 back, then I'll take your name off 10 £39 wheels. And that paperwork's rubbish, goes in the bin now. And work it down that way. That's how I will settle everybody. That's how I fully intend to settle everybody. So what I did when I started this off a year ago, or whenever it was, and I said, I'm going to start off at 80% discount, and every week we're going to take off 1%. So you've had 75% discount, 74%, 73, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68, 67, 66, and so on. Or every week I put a different domain on sale, and every week, it goes down by 1%. So in other words, you save more money at the beginning, when it was a shit game and nobody knew what was going on and nobody knew how it was going to work. Those are the people that should get paid the most, the people that put it in then at 70% off and 69% off and 68% off and so on. Now we've come down, we've hit the 50% mark a couple of weeks ago. So the last one to go on sale was Ostomate, I think, TV at 49% off. The next domain that will go up for sale will be 48% off. The next one, 47. The next one, 46, 43, 42, 41, 30, 29, and so on. You're not going to go back to having 60% off. We're not going to do this again. I'm not going to do this 1% off every week. We'll get down as far as we go, probably to about, 10% off, or even no percent off. Probably get down to 1% off. Then at that point, I don't need to do it anymore. All of the wheels have got plenty of people on. And whatever anybody gets in a membership, they will spend. So I won't need to do the percentages off. The one thing at the moment that is clear is that you cannot get 50% off now. It's less than 50% off. The only way that you can get 50% or more off on memberships is to buy a brown envelope. Because every one of those brown envelopes is guaranteed to give you more than double. So you're going to get more than 50% off, if you look at it that way. I've carefully designed it the way that I've designed it, on purpose. We're going to go all the way down to 1%. And then there'll be no percent off. And the only percent off that you can get is if I do something like a brown envelope or something. And then you'll get a percent off. But let me tell you, when you win a voucher or whatever, and you win £150 worth of memberships, try and look at it in your mind. You've won 150 quid towards your pension. Because that's 150 quid I'll give you cash at some point in the future. Doesn't matter what you pay for it. Doesn't matter if you only paid 30 quid for it. Doesn't matter. That's an investment. And what I've done is designed it this way so that I have investments, but in a different way. So before, the investments were clear cut. You put £5,000 in, you get £7,500 back over 2 years. People know exactly where they stand. Numbers add up and they go, yeah, I understand that, right, I'll have some of that. These are a bit more convoluted. These aren't quite as easy as that, but it basically means the same thing. You put money into the memberships now and you get paid out the full amount. See who this is. Right, so we've come up to about as far as I want to be. It's a good update on investment, and I need to call this person back. It's Fran. I don't think there's any more I can say. By all means, get in touch if you want to talk to me. All right, I've out my bucket to everybody. Support the investments that you've got in place. and support what it is that we're doing. You know, we have invented the best game on the internet, and it's just going to get better and better and better. Take care. Have a great Sunday. Bye for now.